Hi students, Logan Phillips here. Today's video we're going to be covering the Microsoft Word Guided Project 1-2 for the SimNet environment. Before we get started, remember some important information. If you need to contact me, my number is 918-595-7485. You can come to my office in A132 at the Facet Center of the Northeast Campus, or you can reach me by email at logan.phillips1@tulsacc.edu. So let's go ahead and open up SimNet environment, look at our projects. I'm going to take you through the steps of downloading it, working through the assignment, and then re-uploading it for points. So if we open up our SimNet environment, we're introduced at very first to our dashboard. Now the dashboard should be arranged in my class by dates and due dates. But if we're working on a specific thing, you can always sort down by that specific project that we're working on. So let's go to the left-hand side and just click on the word projects because we are working on the our SimNet projects. Now inside the projects, we're going to be working on the guided project 1-2. And so you can see here in this particular class, this is overdue, but we can still work on it. So let's go ahead and click on the project, Word 2016 Guided Project 1-2. Now this is going to be this is going to bring up the screen that you're going to be using for both downloading, uploading, and submitting for grading for this given project. Now the SimNet projects require a standalone application on your computer system. You need to have Microsoft Office 2016 or 2013 for PC, or you need to have Microsoft Office 2016 for Mac installed on your computer. Now you can download two different start files or two different instruction files. If you're using a PC, which is what I am using, we're going to be using the Windows Start instruction files. If you're using a Macintosh, you'll use the Macintosh 2016 files. Now remember, if you're using Macintosh, you cannot use any older software because it will not function correctly. You'll be missing pieces and menus and themes and whatnot. And for the Windows, you need to use 13 or 16. You cannot use any of the older versions because the same thing. You'll be missing themes, menu items, and the layout for the Microsoft Word is different. So we're going to download two pieces of downloads here. We're going to download the instruction files, number one, and we're also going to download our start file. Now you can see the start file automatically downloads with your name associated with it, as well as the instruction file. This should be in a PDF. If you cannot open the instruction file, make sure you install Adobe Reader, and you can open them from there. So let's go ahead and open up our instruction file and take a look at this. All your instruction files will be laid out pretty much the same for the guided projects and independent projects. They'll have step-by-steps on how to do them on the guided project, which is much more intuitive, aimed at walking you through, and the independent projects are more for helping you get along, but you're going to have to make decisions on your own. So we're going to be looking through this project. You can see the skills covered and the steps that we're working on. And with that opened up, we're going to go through and open up our start file. Now we have our start file and our instruction files opened up. And so you can see from the start file, the very first thing we're going to need to do is click on the Enable Editing button. Anytime you download something from the internet, there is risk involved with it. And if they have a macro installed or a virus installed in the document, it can cause an infection on your computer. So if it's from a trusted document source, make sure you hit on the Enable Editing button. You might be able to do a few things depending on your computer if you don't hit that button, but if you do not hit the Enable Editing button when you go to install or upload it, you're not going to save your work and it's going to screw stuff up. So make sure you hit the Enable Editing button. All right, so working with the instruction file, which my instruction file is going to be on a separate screen. I strongly encourage you to print this out and keep it with you so you can go through it step by step. But if you have multiple screens, you can put your instruction file on one screen and then go from there. Now we have already opened up, done step one, open the document, and we've already renamed it automatically. We can see it is renamed Logan.Phillips Online Learning. And yours will say your name. And we've already changed, so we've done steps 1 and 2 now. And so we're going to save this to my desktop just to make it easier. So when you download stuff typically in Windows environment, it downloads to your downloads folder. So we're going to want to download this to our desktop to make sure that we're working on the correct one. So I'm going to go up to my File menu, Backstage View. I'm going to go File, and I'm going to choose Save As, and I'm going to choose to put this into my desktop. So I hit Browse, Desktop, and we're going to save it right there. Now, you can save these documents as a variety of types. The Word document is a DOCX document. If you try to save it as a Word 97 to 2003, it'll save it as a .doc. And of course, you can save them as PDFs and several other types of files, but for the SimNet environment, we're really going to want to leave it as that docx file. So Logan.Phillips1, and we're going to hit save. And you can see the title of the document is still at the top. We still have our working environment. So let's go ahead and start into the menus, or the instruction file. We are going to go into step 3 at this point. So if you're following along, I'll try to re-at the step that we're doing and explain where we're at inside the document. So we're going to change the line and paragraph spacing of this entire document. So we're going to select the entire text to begin with, and to do that with Microsoft Word selected, we're going to hit the Control and A, which means select all things, and then we're going to go into our paragraph grouping and open up the paragraph group dialog box launcher. So up at the top of Microsoft Word, we have tabs, and inside each tab we have groupings. And inside some of the groupings in the bottom right hand corner, we actually have a dialog box launcher. So let's open up the paragraph grouping dialog box launcher. And then we're going to change this boxing and the paragraph line. We're going to change the line and paragraph spacing, and we're going to choose a multiple spacing. So let's go down here to the spacing choices and choose multiple. And we're going to choose a at area of type of 1.2. So instead of 3, we're going to choose 1.2. And we're going to change the after paragraph spacing to a 12 point. So let's go ahead here to the after and we'll put in a 12. And we're going to hit OK to close the dialog box launcher. And so now you see that we have expanded out our document over 2 pages. We have modified the paragraph spacing. Again, that was paragraph grouping dialog box, spacing of a multiple, and we chose at area of a 1.2 with an after spacing of 12 points, and we hit OK. All right, so we are now on to step 4. We're going to turn on the show hide, which is in the paragraph group on the home tab. And so on the home tab, we have in the paragraph group, we have this weird little icon in the top right hand corner. And if you hover over the top of it, you'll see that it'll come up with a menu called show hide. And this shows you all the editing marks that exist inside Microsoft. So let's go ahead and click on that and open up all the paragraph markings. All right, and from there, we can now delete the extra blank line between each paragraph and the title. So you can see here at the at the start of each line, we have this paragraph grouping. So we're just going to come through here and hit the delete button or the backstage button, whichever you would like to choose, and get rid of all those erroneous extra lines. And it looks like we're good. So we're back onto one page. Next, on to step 5, we're going to select the entire document again. So we're going to select anywhere in the document, hit Control and A to select everything, and we're going to change our font. Now, the font is the style the words and letters are written in. Font is specifically about the individual characters and how they look. And we're going to choose a font style of Cambria, which is on the Home tab, on the font grouping. Right now we're at Calibri, so let's go ahead and change this to Cambria. And you can scroll down until you find it and click on it. Next, on step 6, we're going to change the paragraph spacing, alignments, font size, styles, effects, and the color of the title. So we're going to select the title of the document first, the online learning information. So I'm going to use my left mouse click at the end of the sentence. I'm going to left mouse click and hold, highlight the entire sentence, and then we're going to click on the layout tab. And here we're going to start modifying a few pieces about this given title. We're going to change the before spacing to 36 points. So let's go spacings in the paragraph grouping. We're going to choose a before of 36 instead of 0. Now you'll notice that this will drop my online learning information down 36 points below that Sierra Pacific. And so we have a nice big gap here now between the Sierra Pacific logo and our online learning information. Next, we're going to click on the after spacing with the online learning information collected. And instead of a 12 point, we are going to change this to an 18 point. Now I'm typing it in. You could hit your up and down radio buttons and move it that way, but I just highlighted and typed in. And then we're going to click on the center button, which is on the home tab in the paragraph groupings. So home tab, paragraph grouping, and we're going to choose the center alignment. So we have left align, center align, right align, or justified. So let's go ahead and sit on center align. So we have online learning with a nice space above, a little bit of a space below, and centered to the document between each of the sides here. We are now in step 6E. We're going to click on the Font Launcher, which is in the Home tab, Font Group, and the Font Dialog Box Launch. So let's go up here to the Home tab in the Font Group. And like many groups in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a little half box with an arrow. And that opens up the Font Dialog Box Launcher. And with the Font Dialog Box Launcher opened, we are going to choose a bold in the font style. And we're going to change the font size to a 24. So let's go down here and find 24. And from the font size 24, we're going to make the effect of a small caps. Now notice that right now it's one uppercase letter and then the rest lowercase. Uppercase, all lowercase. So if we change it to small caps, you'll notice that the uppercase letter stays larger than everything else, but everything else is still in an uppercase format. Then we're going to choose the coloring for this is going to be blue-gray text 2. So let's go ahead and go into coloring and font color, and the blue-gray is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aisles on. Maybe it's 4 aisles. There we go. 4 columns in, and it's blue-gray text 2, which is the first row. So 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, first row. Now with the Dialog Box Launcher opened, there's actually some advanced commands that we can access from here. So we see here we have 2 tabs in the Dialog Box Launcher. We have the Font tab and the Advanced tab. Now many people that are using the Microsoft Word, just having access to this one little Dialog Box Launcher in the paragraph and the font grouping will take you from a pretty basic user to a pretty intermediate level user. So remember about these 2 things when you're in your company, you're doing your work, and your boss asks for something sort of specific. These Dialog Box Launchers can help you tremendously. So we're going to go into our Advanced tab in the Box Launcher, and we're going to click on the Spacing drop-down list, and we're going to choose to do Expanded Spacing. Now that spacing means in between each of the individual letters. And so you can see here in the preview line, we're going to choose Spacing. Right now it's normal, and we're going to choose Expanded. And all it did was expand out individually between the big uppercase and the rest of the letters, the spacing between the words. So it's just a matter of distance between letters and words. All right, and we're going to choose by 1.2. And so expanded spacing by, right now we have 1, we're going to choose a 1.2. And we're going to hit OK. So now we have a nice big centered, expanded, small caps title here. And we have completed step 6. So let's move on to step 7. And we're going to start moving paragraphs in the document and inserting headings. Now headings allow you to really arrange the document very well and helps with document e-readers and if you're going to be creating into PDFs and that kind of stuff. So we're going to select the last paragraph of the document. So let's go down to the very last one, which starts with SPCCD. I'm using my left mouse click, hold, and drag. And we're going to select this entire paragraph. And we're going to use the cut button and we're going to use the paste. So up in the Home tab, we have a cut button and a copy and a paste button. Now the cut button will take something from one location and move it to another place. A copy button will leave something in its original location and duplicate it into another place. So we're going to hit on cut, and then we're going to choose to paste this second line of the document before definitions of online learning modalities. So we're going to go here and place our cursor on the left-hand side with a left mouse click, and we're going to choose to paste it. So SBCCD was a pioneer, and we pasted it right before definitions of online learning modalities. All right, we are now on to step 7E, and we're going to click at the beginning of the pasted paragraph. So right before SPCCD, we're going to put our cursor with the left mouse click, and we're going to type in word for word, where are we now with online learning? And we're going to hit a question mark and hit the enter button. So we have a title here of where are they now with online learning, and SBCCD was a pioneer in online learning. Next on step 7F, we're going to select the paragraph that begins with a hybrid course. So let's go here and select the paragraph that begins with hybrid course. And make sure you select even the paragraph mark at the very end. We're going to move this paragraph by the drag and drop method. So we're going to use our mouse. We're going to left click with the left mouse button. We're going to click and hold, and we're going to click and hold and then drag this wherever we want it to be. And we're going to move this paragraph to so that it begins with television or teleweb courses. So let's see here. So it appears before. So we're going to take this paragraph, drag it right before the word television. You can see my cursor existing right before T, and we're going to release our cursor by releasing the left mouse button and dropping it into place. All right, we are now in step 7G, and we're going to move the paragraph up. So we just did 7. We just finished step 7, and we are now going to move on to step 8. So we're going to now format the section headings in the document, and we're going to use the format painter to accomplish this. So inside Microsoft Word, a lot of times you do all this modifications to text to make it look exactly how you want. And you really want to duplicate that to other text. Now, you can redo the steps one by one, or you can use a format painter to duplicate all the changes you made visually and copy the changes, visual changes to the next thing. So we're going to select on the first selected section heading. Where are we now with online learning? So let's go ahead and select this entire section heading. And we're going to start with the Dialog Box Launcher, or the Font Dialog Box Launcher, which is on the Home tab, Font Grouping, Dialog Box Launcher. And we're going to go down to the Font tab to start changing the styles of this. So we're going to change the font size to a 12 point from 11. We're going to change the font color to blue-gray text 2. So font color, blue-gray, text 2. If you hold your mouse button over it, it will highlight and tell you what color it is. And we're going to choose a double underline. And underline style to double underline. There we go. Next on step 8F, we're going to change the underline color. So not the actual font, just the underline. And we're going to change it from a black over to a blue-gray text 2. So fourth column, first row. And then the effects area, we're going to click the all caps checkbox. So we're modifying this to where every letter is in a cap, an uppercase letter. And then we're going to click OK and close the Font Dialog Box Launcher. So let's go ahead and click OK. And you can see here now we have where are they now with online learning, all uppercase, double lined, and they're both in that blue-gray text 2. Next on step 8J, we're going to place our pointer, or I'm sorry, 8I. We're going to click on the text effects and typography button, which is on the Home tab in the font grouping. So still with this selected, we have the Home tab and the font grouping, and we're going to look for that text effects and typography, which is that little shadowed A. And we're going to click on that button, and it's going to bring up a variety of text effects and typography that we can use. Typography being how letters and stuff look. Now, we're going to choose to place your pointer on a shadow and select offset diagonal bottom right. So let's go find the shadow. Here's the shadow, and we're going to choose offset diagonal bottom right. Now we have offset bottom left, we have offset bottom right, and that's going to be the one we choose. So if you're using Office 2016, it's going to be called offset bottom right. And so you can see here our title now has a nice little drop shadow, and it's back to the bottom and to the right, which makes it look a little bit 3D. Next on step 8K, with the formatted headline still selected. So make sure we're still selected here. We are going to do the Format Painter button, which is on the Home tab in the clipboard grouping. So we have up here in the Home tab in the clipboard grouping, we're going to click on the Format Painter. Now with the Format Painter, we can actually come down and paste the formatting of this to each of the new titles. And definitions of online learning modalities. So notice that we duplicated all the formatting we just did without having to go through all those steps a second time. With our next step, step 9, we're going to start formatting paragraph headings in the document. So we have a few here: online courses, hybrid courses, television and teleweb courses, and web enhanced courses. These are our paragraph titles. So let's go ahead and click on the first paragraph heading, online courses. Let's come down here, highlight it. I'm using my left mouse button, click, hold, and highlight. And with the left mouse button, click, hold, and highlight of online courses, including the colon, we are going to click on the Font Launcher dialog box. So Home tab, Font Grouping, Dialog Box Launcher. And we're going to change this to a bold font style. And we're going to change this to a blue-gray text to font color. So again, fourth column and the first row. And we're going to change this in effects area to a small caps. And we're going to hit OK and close the dialog box launcher. So now we have an online course that's blue-gray text too, it's small caps, and it's bolded. On step 10, we're going to use the Format Painter again. So with online courses highlighted, we're going to come to our Home tab, into our Format Painter, our clipboard grouping. We're going to click on Format Painter, and we're going to paint this into the rest of the courses. That's Format Painter again, and just transfer them down. Format Painter, and transfer down. So you can see now I have all my titles formatted in the exact same way with only a few clicks. Now we are on to step 11, which is to correct the spelling and grammar in the document using the context menu. So we're going to right click on the first misspelled word, which is management. So instead of going to review and spelling, we're going to click on the management word, and we're going to use our right mouse button. Click on the right mouse button on the word management. And you can see here that they have given us a new word that is correctly spelled of management. And we're going to repeat this process for potion. So right click on potion and replace it with portion. And we're going to click ignore all or ignore once if there's any other words here. Next, on to step 12, we're going to select the sentence in the parentheses at the end of the document, including the parentheses. Now, to make you be able to see this a little bit easier, I'm going to turn off my view of my show hide. I'm going to hide them again. You can see here we have a note at the very bottom that starts with the parentheses, ends with the parentheses. Of note, this is a definition of online learning. So I've highlighted that, and with this highlighted in step 12, we're going to go to our Home tab, Font Group, and we're going to push Control-I. And we're going to choose the italic button. Okay. We're on step 13. Sorry about that. That is step 12. Now, you could have italicized by using the Home tab, Font Group Italicize, or you could have italicized by hitting the Control-I on your keyboard as a shortcut menu. So on to step 13, we're going to add document properties. To accomplish this, we need to go to our backstage view of our document. So let's go up to our File tab, and if you click on File, it'll actually take you to our backstage view. And here you can actually change the properties of the document, who owns it, who controls it, and those type of things. So in the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to show all properties, and we're going to modify the properties of this document as needed. So we're going to click on the title area. So let's go ahead to title. We're going to choose to add a title, and we're going to add it as online learning information. It is important to spell things correctly and to make it look identical, and only the red. Leave off the period that's in black. In the subject area, we are going to put in, there we go, subject of online learning. And in the author type, Tanisha Morris. And it's going to be Tanisha Morris. And so we have here now the author. Oh, sorry, I hit specify the manager. I'm going to hit Control-Z and back out of that. We're going to add an author of Tanisha Morris. Okay. We're going to get OK to accept the changes. If you're in 2016, you don't have to click OK. If you're in 2013, you will have to. And we're going to do the back arrow in the upper left stage to return to the document. So top left corner, we're going to return to our document. And we're going to save and close the document. So we're going to go up to the top left corner, hit save. You can also hit your Control S, or you can go to File, Save in the backstage view. All right, so we've completed our document to this point in time. It's only taken us about 15-20 minutes. If we minimize this, we can now choose to upload our file. Now I saved my document to my desktop, so to make it a little bit easier. I know it's online learning module, so I'm going to select it. I'm going to choose Open. Now this upload my file actually functions as a cloud storage device, a thumb drive. So you can say, no, I'm not ready to use it, and save it here while you go home and work on a different computer. Or you can say, yes, I'm ready to grade this assignment, submit my assignment for grading. If we submit for grading, it's going to prepare our answers. You can see here I got a 97%. Let's find out where I made a mistake. And it looks like in the documents property box, I forgot to delete the existing author and add. So I should have deleted myself and just had Tanisha Morris as the author. So that's an easy fix. You can get that point. And you can see here on the left-hand side, it tells me everything I've gotten correct, everything I've gotten partially correct, and everything I've gotten completely incorrect. And you can see I got nothing completely incorrect. Now with all these, you have 3 attempts. If you would like to fix your issue, and you can see here I have an issue of a partial. Let's go ahead and make sure what it is. In the author area, I delete the existing author name and type Tanisha Morris as author. So I've made this mistake and I want to get my points back. So instead of doing the document from scratch, I can actually download my submitted file, open it back up, come down to where I need to be to fix that issue, File, Backstage, and I'm going to go ahead and right click and remove this person. And then I'm going to go back to my home and save it. And let's go ahead and File, Save As to my desktop. Oh, sorry, that's downloads. To desktop. Now notice this one's saved as a number 1, 1. I'm going to save it there so I know which issue I'm working with. I'm going to come back to my SimNet environment and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to resubmit this. I'm going to click on the title at the top of the file. I'm going to upload my new document, which is that 1, 1. I'm going to choose to open it. Yes, I'm ready to submit it. And hopefully now we got 100%. And so I show you this to show that if you make a mistake, you can actually download the document you're working on, fix those mistakes, and re-upload it without having to start from scratch. All right, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, that is how you submit a project. That is the Word Guided Project 1-2. If you need help, let me know. Have a very fruitful day.